Video is about materials that were viewed at the Titus reading room at the Atomic History Museum in Las Vegas, Nevada, back in early April when Michael and I visited the place on the way back from trying to retrieve our car, which was recovered and destroyed in California. This video is kind of a sample of materials that are available on atmospheric atomic testing. This particularly refers to a series of tests known as the Teapot tests. This is just an example of the type of materials that are available in the museum for people to review. I wanted to start out on one of these media articles because this speaks to the way in which the atomic testing program was in many ways used as a tourism booster in Las Vegas, of all things, and this was part of trying to erase the public's so-called irrational fear of atomic power. And so obviously there would have to be some notice to the public because you could see these clouds in the sky from Vegas. It's only 65 miles away. This one refers to one of the Teapot tests, and that the weapon would be released from F-36 bomber flying more than 30,000 feet. So yeah, folks, let's just throw a nuclear weapon out of a plane and explode it over your city. And yeah, this is tourism boosting. This is the sickness of our society in 1955. Again, here's another article from the LA Times that there would be a 6-mile-high atomic blast over the desert today in Yucca Flat. This is what these documents look like. All of these spiral-bound documents are different atomic tests, nuclear weapons tests, atmospheric nuclear weapons tests. You can see on the shelf above these tests up here, these are the documents that were produced by the US government on the South Pacific Island atmospheric testing so that we could explain to the South Pacific Island residents what had been done to their homes by the US government after we asked them to borrow their islands. The wording is so clever. This is what this looks like in the Titus reading room. Below, so here's where we explained to the Pacific Islanders what we've done to them. These are summaries of the atmospheric tests. There were over 100 of these at the Nevada test site. These documents down below are early documents determining appropriate dose assessment guidelines for human beings. That is, how much radiation was released from these tests. This document deals with this particular Teapot series. Just to give you an overview again, here's the cover of the document. This is the opening page. This is in all of these documents. This is a description of the series of tests. So this is Operation Teapot. These were 1955 continental nuclear weapons tests. It's a series of them. This particular document itself was created in 1981. And so down here in the abstract, this report describes the activities of an estimated 11,000 DoD personnel. If you think war is not a profitable undertaking, just take a look at how many people it takes to run just these tests. Military and civilian people. This was the 5th atmospheric nuclear weapons testing series conducted in Nevada from the 18th of February to the 15th of May, 1955. And it goes over which types of personnel were included. These fact sheets are very interesting. They talk about the way these operations were conducted. I would encourage you to read through this. It's absolutely obvious from these summaries that many civilian and military personnel were irradiated at levels over what was considered to be safe even at the time. And even in this series, this was just a randomly picked series out of the shelf. And so, for instance, in this one, just on this first shot, WASP, that's described, this is an airdropped nuclear device detonated 762 feet above Yucca Flat. Troops were scheduled to view the detonation from trenches 4,500 meters south of ground zero. That's 3 miles away, folks. But these trenches were in the predicted path of fallout, so oops, things changed all the time. Many of these documents detail changes in wind direction that caused fallout patterns over Mesquite, Nevada, St. George, Utah, other communities in this area. So I'm just going to scroll through this. Please stop this video and read. I would encourage you to do so because it's hard to comprehend the deception of the population until you understand how much is understood, how much was done by our government, and is still wanting to be done because they'd like to reopen the Nevada test site. This, stopping here on this page, 8 minutes after the shot, all units were mobilized and moving toward ground zero. Okay. If you think people weren't guinea pigs, okay. And then, just to end on a couple of ironic notes, well, this is actually the 7th of April, 1955. This date was typed over, but this is a 1955 article relating to these tests. And the irony, because we are being continually irradiated at this time based on the releases coming off of the Fukushima nuclear power plant, now Fukushima meltdown sites, at least 3 admitted meltdowns, and then of course the most devastating releases were the ejection of the material from the spent fuel pools, literally thousands of tons of spent fuel. And I'll say it again, spent fuel is not spent. Spent fuel is more hazardous than fresh fuel. It contains fission products because of the ongoing bombardment of the fresh nuclear fuel with neutrons that is more toxic to human beings and all life forms. So here, this article, lo and behold, the radioactive dust from the Nevada test site explosions was blowing all the way around the world and being detected at Tokyo. You think we're not getting irradiated? Hello. This is me in the museum. This is a nuclear missile behind me. You see how small they are. That's one. Not a lot of fissionable material in that, and then compare that to the releases from Fukushima and the contents of those spent fuel pools, which the public is now being deceived into thinking are being removed from the pools. That absolutely did not happen, is not happening, and the contents of these pools were burned up, blew up, ejected all over Japan, the Pacific Ocean. It's not over yet.